Hello and welcome to GCS Today here on Channel 21, the program that brings you news and information from Gaston County Schools. I'm Todd Hagans. On today's episode, we are focusing on kindergarten and pre-kindergarten registration in Gaston County Schools. Our guests include Deana Murphy, our Director of Pre-Kindergarten Services, and Jenny Carper and Ashley Smith, two elementary school teachers who will share what it is like to be in the kindergarten classroom. Joining me on GCS Today is Deana Murphy. She is our Director of Pre-Kindergarten Services. Deana, it is good to see you.
Hey, it's really good to see you too, Mr. Hagans. Thanks for having me.
Okay, we are talking about kindergarten and pre-kindergarten registration, and it is time to register in Gaston County Schools. So let's first focus on pre-kindergarten. What is pre-kindergarten and how does the program work in Gaston County?
You know, it is hard to believe it is that time of year when we start thinking about moving our current pre-kinders into kindergarten and bringing in that new batch of pre-kindergartners to our program. All children, by the way, I want to say this because sometimes our families think they don't have to register for kindergarten, but if you're a current pre-kindergarten student, you do need to register through the website at Gaston County Schools. But about pre-K, Gaston County is the site administrator and the contract administrator for what is called the North Carolina Pre-Kindergarten Program. It's a state-funded program, and it's designed to provide high-quality educational experiences to help build school readiness for children who are 4 years old. The idea behind the program is that really, in order for children to be successful in school, they need to have enriching experiences in all developmental domains. So their cognitive development, their language and communication, their health and physical development, emotional and social development is really important. And lastly, their approaches to play and learning. So like how they solve problems and how they resolve conflicts and things like that. In Gaston County, we have pre-K programs in some of our elementary schools, but we also contract with child care centers in our area to provide our program. Typically, we serve about 900 children. And all teachers are licensed, no matter where the program is located. All teachers have to be licensed in birth to kindergarten, and we all follow a curriculum that emphasizes those developmental domains. And then we also do assessments of children 4 times a year to kind of see where they are in literacy and math.
Okay, so give us the who, what, when, where, and why about pre-kindergarten. Talk to us about the registration process, the qualifications, deadlines, other important information. I guess, what do you think parents need to know?
All of the information that I'm going to share today is also on our pre-K department page on the website through Gaston County Schools, so parents can really look there and get a lot more detail about it. And the main thing to know now is that it's time to register. Families can get information about the program and actually register online, as I mentioned. The qualifications: you have to be a resident of Gaston County. Your child has to be 4 years old on or before August 31st, and children have to meet certain eligibility requirements. The first thing that we use to determine eligibility is the family's income, and that's very different from other grade levels or programs in our school system. Families are eligible for the NC Pre-K program if their income is at or below 75% of the state median income. There's a great table on the website that kind of gives you what those figures are, so you'll know. But even if your family is over income, you still want to apply because there are other qualifications that can make this program work for you. Those include children of military families. If their parent is an active person in the military, and especially if they're deployed, those children are automatically eligible regardless of income. Other things can be if they have a risk factor in an area such as a developmental disability, if they're an English language learner, if they have an educational need or even a chronic health condition, that can make them eligible for the program as well. And by the way, we are accepting applications now. We will make our first round of placements on June the 15th, but we will continue to do that all through the summer and all through the year. Now's the time to register, though.
Okay, so we hear a lot about early childhood education. That's a term that we hear about. So talk to us a little bit about what early childhood education is and why that is so important and what role it plays in pre-kindergarten and in kindergarten.
Gladly, Mr. Higgins. We've learned so much over the years about brain development and how important the early years are for children's overall development. And as a matter of fact, much of the critical brain development happens even before children go to kindergarten. So when we talk about early experiences, we're including birth to kindergarten as when children are primed for good early intervention. Research has also shown that the investment that we make in early education actually has payoffs and dividends even far down the road into adolescence and even adulthood. Children through a good early childhood program not only improve their thinking and their cognitive abilities, but also their social interaction, motivation, their self-esteem, and it even reduces or in some cases eliminates the need for specialized services later in life. So the investment has shown economic benefits in all sorts of important areas to society.
Okay, so would you say it is correct that pre-kindergarten really gives children a jump start, I guess you could say, when it comes to getting into kindergarten and getting into schooling?
Absolutely. We call it a jump start, a head start sometimes, but it certainly gives them a boost because when you're going to kindergarten for the first time, and kindergarten has changed so much over the years, it's really helpful to know some of those school behaviors and to really be ready to hit the ground running in terms of their elementary education.
And at 4 and at 5 years of age, that is when you are starting to build the foundation for education.
Absolutely.
Okay, I want to turn just a moment to tell a little bit of your story. And you certainly know what it is like to be in the classroom and to be a classroom teacher. And you even were the Gaston County Teacher of the Year, named the Gaston County Teacher of the Year in 1994. So, what do you remember first about being the Teacher of the Year?
I remember that was a very long time ago, and I was much younger back then. And I also remember a lot of visitors coming to the classroom because at that time, I know our pre-K program started at Wood Hill back in 1991. And so by 94, we probably were still the first pre-K classroom, or there may have been two at that time. So we were definitely in our infancy stages during that time. But so I remember it being new to a lot of people. I had lots of community visitors. I had visitors from the state, the county, the region, even had the Secretary of Education at the time come to my classroom. So I remember that a lot. I remember a lot of hard interview questions. But I also remember being very honored to represent Gaston County, and I really thought it was a privilege to carry that message about early childhood education in many parts of the state because it was so new, and there weren't too many classrooms like that across the state at the time.
So, as a former Teacher of the Year, what advice would you give to classroom teachers today?
You know, it was true then, it's still true today, that probably the most critical aspect of teaching is developing that caring, supportive, and nurturing relationship with students, no matter their age. That kind of is the standard across the board.
And I think that that is really important, more so than the academics and what you're learning in the classroom. The children first have to know that the teacher in that classroom cares. And that is what it takes to start building that relationship for learning.
You got it. That's exactly right.
Okay, so let's think about our parents, the parents who have 4-year-olds, and they may be on the fence about exploring pre-kindergarten and registering. What would you say to those parents about pre-kindergarten to convince them to get their child signed up?
I would say don't wait. Go ahead and make that decision and do it today. I remember being a parent myself when my oldest was just going into pre-K or kindergarten, and especially when it's your first child, it's hard to let them go and give them up for a little bit of that time. But the impacts and the benefits to them far outweigh any hesitation on the part of parents. And I love talking to parents about that. They call my office a lot and say, I don't know. And most of the time, the vast majority of the time, they are so glad that they applied and that they had their child participate.
It certainly gives a 4-year-old a jump start on school. And we're talking about the pre-kindergarten program, and it is time now to register for pre-kindergarten in Gaston County Schools. Deana Murphy, our Director of Pre-Kindergarten Services, we appreciate you taking time to join us here on GCS Today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're watching GCS Today here on Channel 21. When we come back, we turn our focus to kindergarten in Gaston County Schools. Stay with us.
If you love me enough to tolerate my perfect little pets and all their glorious dander, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education.
What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job?
Be like everybody else.
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher.
You got the skills.
The smarts?
Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess?
What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Joining me on GCS Today is Jenny Carper. She is a kindergarten teacher at Robinson Elementary School. Mrs. Carper, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hagans. It's my pleasure to be here.
Okay, let's go inside your classroom at Robinson Elementary. How is your classroom designed to be welcoming for 5-year-olds when they enter kindergarten?
Well, it is so important to have a family atmosphere in our classroom. So when you enter my classroom, the first thing you're going to see is lots of framed pictures of the children all over the classroom, just like you would see in the home. And our walls and our bulletin boards are decorated with things that are important to them and things that we use right inside our classroom. Our classroom is also set up with tables. So those are designed to have a lot of teamwork and a lot of collaboration because that relationship is so imperative as they enter kindergarten. So we're trying to build that wonderful atmosphere right from the start.
And I know you are working to create an environment that puts students in with the ability to engage in learning. And I know that you probably have faced challenges with that this year because of the pandemic, but that's really what you want to try to do as a kindergarten teacher. You want to engage students in learning.
Oh, absolutely, Mr. Hagans. As the teacher, I'm also their coach and their biggest supporter in the classroom. So I like to give lots of guidance and provide many opportunities to practice the things that we're learning because it's a grade level that's full of student-centered learning. That's one thing you're going to find when you enter a Gaston County Schools kindergarten program. You're going to see lots and lots of centers and ways that we learn in small groups because that student-centered learning gives us the opportunity to differentiate the instruction for our students.
And you really are building a foundation for students because as a kindergartner, those children are beginning we like to say they're beginning their 13-year educational journey.
Yes. That is so true. And one of the things that we want in kindergarten is for parents to realize this is a time for their children to bloom and grow. We do this by providing a classroom that is rich in love and nurturing and cooperation. It's also lots of fun. So we want to have that focus and that solid foundation built on those relationships. Because when you have the relationships and the academics, you've got a great recipe for success.
Okay, if you could fill in the blank, what would you say to this? Kindergarten is a time for children to...
I would definitely say bloom and grow, because when they are entering our room, it's really important for them to feel safe and feel loved so they can explore and do all of the things that we're asking of them in kindergarten. Kindergarten teaches lots of cooperation, and we're trying to spark that love for learning. So we have lots and lots of opportunities for hands-on instruction, and we want them to bloom and grow in every Gaston County Schools kindergarten.
And I know children certainly find that in your classroom at Robinson. And like you said, you'll find that in kindergarten classrooms all across our schools in Gaston County Schools. So let's talk a little bit about you as a teacher. What do you enjoy most about teaching, and what is very exciting about teaching kindergartners?
Okay. What is not exciting about teaching kindergartners? It is so fun to watch children grow in the classroom, that daily excitement that they bring every single day. What I love about it is watching them grow in their confidence. And I love to embrace their interests because they actually teach us as well. I love watching them become proficient at things like reading and writing and math. But the best part of my job definitely is creating that community atmosphere. Because if you have that relationship with your children and the families, everything else comes seamlessly together.
Okay, so one final question. Is it really true? I think it's a book title that everything you really need to know you learn in kindergarten. Is that true?
It absolutely is. I believe that wholeheartedly. Mr. Hagens, as you know, I've done this for a very, very long time. And I love watching the robust enthusiasm that they come in at the beginning of the year with, but that truly continues all through the year when they are 5 and 6 years old. They are excited about every single day. They're willing and excited to try new things. They end up absolutely loving everything about school. And so it's so fun to nurture that love of learning. But I must tell you, the very best part of teaching kindergarten is making learning fun and finding the magic in every single day.
Jenny Carper, kindergarten teacher at Robinson Elementary School. Thank you for everything that you do to guide our students on the educational journey in Gaston County Schools. And we appreciate you being with us here today on GCS Today.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much, Mr. Hagens.
We continue our focus on kindergarten, and joining me on GCS Today is Ashley Smith. She is a kindergarten teacher at Pinewood Elementary School. Mrs. Smith, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go inside your classroom at Pinewood Elementary. How is your classroom designed to welcome kindergartners and to engage them in learning?
Well, I want the students to feel welcome and to feel like they belong in our school and in my classroom. So from the beginning of the year, when they walk in, they will see their name on their door. They'll see their name throughout the classroom. They'll see their name on their desk, and they'll know that they belong with us and that they're wanted here. Every morning throughout the school year, we have morning meeting where students greet each other by name, and they get to share anything they would like with the classroom and with me as a teacher. Also throughout the year, they'll see their work displayed throughout the classroom and their art samples. And that lets them know that their work is important to us and that they belong here and that they're welcome with us in the classroom. To engage them in learning, we have many opportunities for them to be active in learning. We play math games during the day. They may be involved in learning centers to practice reading skills. They have a diverse library in the classroom for them that they can grab books from. They can read with a partner. They may be reading with a teacher to practice reading skills. Also, we do a lot of STEM centers at Pinewood in the afternoon and kindergartens, and this is a favorite of our kids. And this is a time where they can collaborate with each other. They can learn skills to become scientists, engineers, artists, mathematicians, and it's just a really enjoyable time for them. That everything we do, we incorporate technology and arts, and we just try to make it very engaging and active for our students.
And it is amazing that you are already at 5 years old, you are already focusing on those topics like technology and science and the other ones that you mentioned. What kind of response do you get from your students? I imagine that probably is the perfect way to engage them in learning.
Oh, it is. They love it. That is really their most favorite part of the day. And they just enjoy doing science experiments and getting to do art and incorporating it with what they have learned and telling their families about it. I hear a lot of families just talking about how much they really love that part of the day. And that just makes it all worth it.
Okay, so let's fill in the blank. How would you fill in the blank to this statement? Kindergarten is a time for children to...
Kindergarten is a time for children to grow, not only academically, but socially as well. They're beginning to build those relationships with their teachers and also how to socialize and build relationships with their peers.
And I imagine they are also discovering what school is like and the experience around school, which prepares them to go on to the first grade and the second grade. And you're probably teaching skills in kindergarten that students need to know even when they get to high school.
That's very true. Yes.
Okay, so we are conducting kindergarten registration right now, and we are encouraging our parents to go ahead and register for kindergarten for next school year. So what do you want parents to know about kindergarten? What is your message for parents?
I'd like for parents to know that kindergarten is the foundation for learning. You're building this foundation that, like you said, will take them through their whole school career and even into adulthood. And I think it's really important to build a positive relationship between the school building and the home environment. And to do this, it takes communication, not only on the teacher's part, but also on the family's part. The parents need to feel comfortable communicating with the child's teacher because they are the expert on that child, and we welcome their feedback. Let us know their concerns and let us know the successes of the child. Also, just to really support their child academically, that could be reading to them at night or simply just speaking positively about school to their child.
And I imagine you probably encounter parents who are a little bit nervous about sending their child to school for the very first time. What do you say to those parents to help calm their nerves, I guess you could say, about sending their child to school?
Right. Well, it's always a common problem or a feeling for parents to have. You're entrusting your child with someone you may not know very well, and it may even be their first time in a school setting in general. And I would say to the parents that that's a very normal feeling to have, and that kids and the parents as well might be intimidated by the situation. But they will find that within a very short amount of time, the child will develop friendships, they'll develop a relationship with their teacher, they will learn so much, and just they will have a love for learning, and they'll just love coming to school.
Now, certainly you are dedicated to what you do, and you are dedicated to the teaching profession. And I think that our parents would realize that about all of our kindergarten teachers, that they are dedicated to that beginning year, building that foundation and helping children to discover and grow. So when you think about your work, what do you enjoy the most?
I think I enjoy the most about teaching would be just building the relationships with the family and the community. We are in such a unique position teaching kindergarten that we see these children as such young learners coming to school for the first time. And we get to witness the growth that they have made all the way to 5th grade. And we get to see what we have put into that child and how they're using the strategies that we've taught them, and just developing and maturing and building relationships with other students. And it's just all very rewarding.
Ashley Smith, kindergarten teacher at Pinewood Elementary School. We appreciate everything that you do for your students and for your parents and your whole school community to make the educational environment at Pinewood one that is welcoming and caring, and where students learn and grow and discover. And we appreciate you being with us here today on GCS Today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching GCS Today here on Channel 21. Before we go, once again, we want to remind parents that kindergarten and pre-kindergarten registration is happening now, and they should go ahead and register their child. Please go to our website and click the How to Enroll tab for more information. Don't wait until August. Now is the time to register for kindergarten and pre-kindergarten for next school year. Stay tuned to Channel 21 for the latest news and information from Gaston County Schools. For GCS Today, I'm Todd Higgins. We look forward to seeing you next time.